Hey there, my friend. Welcome back to Daily English Practice, the podcast where stories help you grow, learn English, and believe again. Before we begin today's story, I want to ask you something. Have you ever fallen so hard that you felt you couldn't stand up again? Have you ever lost your voice? Not your physical voice, but that quiet voice inside that says, "You can do it"? Because today's story is about that. It's about a young woman named Emma who lost everything she thought she was, but she found something stronger than success. She found her voice. So, my friend, before we start, take a deep breath, click subscribe if you haven't yet, and stay with us till the end, because today might change how you see failure forever.
And remember, when you listen with your heart, you don't just learn English, you live it.
Emma was the kind of person who always smiled. Her friends used to say, "Emma, you make everything feel easy." But what they didn't know was that behind her soft smile lived a storm called fear. Ever since she was little, Emma loved to sing. Her mother said that when she cried as a baby, her cry almost sounded like a song. As she grew, she sang everywhere, while washing dishes, walking to school, or watching the rain. But there was one thing Emma never did. She never sang in front of people. Because one time, when she was 9 years old, she tried to sing at a school event, and the microphone squeaked, the class laughed, and one boy shouted, "She sounds like a broken radio." That day, Emma froze. She smiled on the outside, but inside, something small and brave died. She promised herself, never again.
Let's pause for a moment, my dear listener. Did you notice the phrase, "something small and brave died"? It doesn't mean someone really died. It means a part of her confidence disappeared. When we say, "a part of me died," it means we lost hope or courage. Try saying it with me, slowly. A part of me died. It's emotional, isn't it? But don't worry. In this story, that part of Emma will come back to life.
Years passed, and Emma grew into a smart, kind woman. She worked in a small cafe, serving coffee with a smile every morning. The customers loved her warmth, but she still never sang. She still carried that laughter from her childhood, like a heavy stone she couldn't put down. One afternoon, her manager announced something. "We're holding a small open mic night here next month. Employees can join too. Sing, read poetry, whatever you like." The cafe cheered, people clapped, but Emma's heart began to race. Her friend Lena, who knew about Emma's love for music, smiled and said, "Emma, you should totally sing. I've heard you humming when you clean. You have a beautiful voice." Emma laughed nervously. "Oh no, not me. I'm not good at that. I'd rather make coffee." But that night, when she went home and closed her door, she sat on her bed and whispered to herself, "I wish I could."
The next few weeks felt heavy. Every time Emma passed by a mirror, she saw someone afraid. Not because of danger, but afraid of being seen. Sometimes she would open her voice recorder and try to sing quietly, but she would stop after a few seconds. Her voice was beautiful, soft and warm, but her mind kept saying, "Remember that time? They laughed. You're not good enough."
And here's something important, my friend. In life, it's not always the world that stops us. It's often our own memories. Have you ever had a dream, but then a small voice inside said, Don't try, you'll fail. That voice is called fear of judgment, and everyone, even successful people, have it. Emma didn't know it then, but she was about to learn that failure is not falling. Failure is refusing to stand up again.
Let's look at the phrase, fear of judgment. It means the fear of what people think about us. For example, I didn't speak in class because I had a fear of judgment. Try repeating it slowly. Fear of judgment. Excellent. Now, remember another expression John said. Failure is not falling. Failure is refusing to stand up again. That's a motivational quote you can use in daily life. Say it with me. Failure is not falling. Failure is refusing to stand up again.
The night before the cafe's open mic, Emma stayed late after work to clean up. The stage was already set, a simple microphone, a soft light, and a small wooden stool. She walked up to it slowly, and for some reason she whispered to it, "Hello." Her voice echoed gently through the empty cafe. She imagined the people sitting there tomorrow, their faces, their eyes, their laughter. Her hands trembled. But then something strange happened. The cafe's old radio turned on by itself. An old song played, one her mother used to sing while cooking dinner. It was called Falling Forward. Emma closed her eyes and hummed along. Her voice blended with the melody, quiet, fragile, but alive. And for a few seconds, she forgot to be afraid.
Let's learn two gentle expressions here. One, hummed along, means to sing softly without words. For example, I hummed along to the music. Two, forgot to be afraid, means she felt peace for a moment, even though fear was still inside. Both phrases are common in emotional storytelling.
That night, when Emma went home, she wrote a single line in her notebook. Tomorrow I will not be perfect, but I will be brave. And she slept, not easily, but with hope whispering softly beside her.
The next day arrived. The cafe was full. The smell of coffee, laughter, and light chatter filled the air. Emma stood behind the counter, pretending to clean. Her name was written on the performer list. She could erase it. She could still escape. But when she looked up, she saw Lena waving from the audience, smiling, believing in her. And something inside Emma said, "Not again. Not this time."
When the host said, "Next up, Emma," her heart almost stopped. She walked up, step by shaky step. Her fingers were cold. She looked at the microphone, the same object that once betrayed her. The room grew quiet. For 5 seconds, she couldn't breathe. Then she remembered the song from last night, Falling Forward, and she began to sing. At first, her voice trembled, like a small bird trying to fly after a long winter. But the more she sang, the more her fear melted into something new. Freedom.
And for the first time in years, Emma's voice didn't hide. It soared. When she finished, the cafe was silent for a heartbeat, and then applause. Real applause. Not the kind that says, "Nice try," but the kind that says, "We see you." Tears filled Emma's eyes. She smiled, not the smile of someone pretending, but the smile of someone returning home.
When the applause finally faded, Emma didn't move. She stood there, frozen, but not from fear this time, from wonder. For years, she had believed that her voice didn't deserve to be heard. But tonight, that belief cracked open, like a window after a storm. She stepped off the stage. Lena ran to her, eyes shining. "Emma, you did it! You were amazing!" Emma laughed through tears. "I almost didn't come up here. I almost ran away." Lena squeezed her hand. "But you didn't. You fell forward." Those words stayed with Emma all night. Fell forward. She realized something important. You can fall and still move in the right direction.
Let's pause and learn that expression. Fall forward. It means to make mistakes but still make progress. You fall, but you fall in the direction of growth. Repeat it with me. Fall forward. Now, say this complete sentence. Even when I fail, I fall forward. Beautiful. You see, English is not only about grammar, it's about expressing life.
After the performance, Emma couldn't sleep. Her heart was full of noise, joy, fear, confusion, hope. She lay awake thinking, why did it take me so long? And that's when she realized, for years, she wasn't afraid of the stage. She was afraid of being seen. Sometimes we hide our talents because we fear what others will think. But the truth is, no one is watching as closely as we think. The world isn't waiting for us to be perfect. It's waiting for us to be real.
After that night, something inside Emma began to change. The cafe customers who had seen her sing kept talking about it. Someone said, "That girl, she made me cry." Another said, "I wish I was brave like her." Emma smiled shyly when she heard those words. Brave? She had never thought of herself that way. But the truth is, bravery doesn't feel like bravery when you're doing it. It feels like shaking hands, fast heartbeats, and saying yes when your fear says no.
Let's practice 2 useful English expressions from this part. 1. Fast heartbeats means your heart is beating quickly because of nervousness or excitement. Example: before my presentation, I felt fast heartbeats. 2. Saying yes when your fear says no. This is a beautiful metaphor. It means doing something even when you're scared. Repeat it slowly. Bravery is saying yes when your fear says no. Excellent.
Days turned into weeks, and Emma kept singing, quietly at first, then more openly. She started posting short covers online, her voice gentle but confident. At first, only a few people watched, but soon comments began to appear. "Your voice makes me feel calm. Thank you for this. I wish I was brave like her." Emma would read them with her hand over her mouth, tears in her eyes. Her voice, the one she once hated, was helping others heal.
Let's look at the word cover. In music, a cover means when you sing or perform someone else's song. Example: Emma posted a cover of her favorite song. Simple and useful. Try saying it. I made a cover of my favorite song. Perfect.
Happened unexpectedly. Emma received a message from a local school teacher. The message said, "Hi, Emma. I saw your video online.
Our students are performing next month. Would you come and sing for them? They need someone to inspire them. Emma read the message again and again. Her hands trembled. She thought, I can't. I'm not a real singer. I just work in a cafe. But another voice, smaller, gentler, whispered, maybe I can.
The day of the school performance came. The hall was small, just a few dozen students, their faces bright with curiosity. Emma stood backstage, holding her guitar. Her reflection looked back at her, a woman with shaking hands but determined eyes. When the host called her name, she took one deep breath and stepped into the light.
The students clapped softly. Emma smiled and said, Hi, everyone. My name is Emma. When I was your age, I stopped singing because I was afraid. But today, I'm here to tell you, even if you fall, it's okay to fall forward. Then she began to sing. Her voice filled the hall, clear, soft, full of truth. It wasn't about being perfect anymore. It was about being present.
Let's learn a few key words from that moment. 1. Backstage, the area behind the stage where performers prepare. Example, Emma waited backstage nervously. 2. Reflection, what you see in a mirror or a surface. She looked at her reflection. 3. Present. In this story, it doesn't mean a gift. It means to be here in the moment. She stopped worrying and stayed present. Repeat that. I want to stay present. Excellent.
When Emma finished, the students stood up and clapped. A little girl came up to her and said, shyly, Miss Emma, I want to sing too, but I'm scared. Emma knelt down and smiled. You know what? I was scared too, but you don't have to be fearless to start. You just have to start, even if your voice shakes. The girl nodded, holding Emma's hand tightly. That moment, more than applause, more than views or praise, was the real victory.
Let's practice Emma's quote together. It's one of the most beautiful sentences for motivation and English learning. You don't have to be fearless to start. You just have to start, even if your voice shakes. Repeat it slowly. Feel every word. That's English from the heart.
Months passed, and Emma kept singing. Not for fame, not for perfection, but for connection. Her YouTube channel grew, but what mattered most were the stories people sent her. A boy wrote, Your songs helped me speak English with confidence. A mother said, Your story gave my daughter courage. Emma would read them with her hand over her mouth, tears in her eyes. Her voice, the one she once hated, was helping others heal.
Let's review the key vocabulary you learned today. Fall forward means fail but still make progress. Example, even when I fail, I fall forward. Fear of judgment means fear of what others think. Example, he stayed silent from fear of judgment. Hummed along means sang quietly without words. Example, she hummed along to the song. Backstage means area behind the stage. Example, he waited backstage nervously. Stay present means be in the moment. Example, she stayed present while singing.
Great job. My friend, maybe today you are like Emma once was, afraid to try again, afraid that your voice doesn't matter. But let me tell you, your voice does matter. Not when it's perfect, but when it's real. When you speak, sing, write, or try, you tell the world, I'm still here. And that's what falling forward means.
So remember this, falling forward is still moving. Every mistake teaches you something. Every no you hear brings you closer to your yes. And every time you stand up again, you win.
Thank you for listening to Daily English Practice Podcast. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to our channel, like this episode, and tell us in the comments, when was a time you fell forward in your life?
Keep learning, keep dreaming, and remember, every word you speak in English is a step forward. We'll see you next time.